from Hollywood, I'm Martin Grove, welcoming you to our Screendollars podcast, Box Office Autopsy. Right now, we'll look at the movie marketplace and analyze how things are going and where they're going, sharing some opinions from my perspective after decades of talking about Hollywood on CNN Entertainment Tonight and as a Hollywood Reporter columnist. This weekend brought only one wide opening, the R-rated action thriller Memory, starring Liam Neeson as a troubled hitman. On today's Box Office Autopsy, we'll talk about the forgettable Memory and about the Bad Guys' very good second weekend in theaters. We'll also look at some upcoming event films, and we'll turn our Oscar Outlook spotlight on the ongoing fallout from the Academy's downgrading of 8 categories. Before we get to Memory, let's start on a happier note with Universal and DreamWorks Animation's The Bad Guys, which held on to the top spot as family audiences continued to return to theaters. Here's a bad scene that should put you in a good mood.
I gave you an opportunity, a chance to show the world that you're more than just a scary stereotype, but you're too proud or too gutless to take advantage of it.
Gutless? I'm gutless? Oh, I'm sorry. Have we met? I'm the villain of every story. Guilty until proven innocent, even if by some miracle we did change. Who's gonna believe us, huh? Of course you wouldn't know anything about that with your little Miss Perfect power suits.
Is that so?
Wait a second, how did you...
A wolf and a fox are not so different. Maybe they will believe you, maybe they won't, but it doesn't matter. Don't do it for them. Do it for you. This is a chance to write your own story, to find a better life for you and your friends. Come on, what have you got to lose?
I don't know, my dignity?
Yeah, well, that ship has already sailed.
Bad stayed atop the box office chart with an overperforming $16.1 million, down just 33% for a domestic cum of $44.4 million. Hollywood handicappers were expecting it to drop about 40%, which would have been around $14 million. So this is definitely good news, especially since Bad reportedly cost just $70 million to produce. Its worldwide cum is now nearly $119 million. As for Briarcliff and Open Road's Memory, it arrived to just $3.1 million at 2,555 theaters, placing 8th at the low end of expectations from exhibitors and Hollywood handicappers. Exhibs were thinking 3 to 4 million, and media projections were a smidgen higher at 3 to 5 million. It probably doesn't matter that critics hate it, with 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, since action films usually aren't driven by reviews. Its 81% audience score says Liam Neeson fans enjoyed it. With no major studio releases this weekend, the marketplace was understandably weak, totaling just $67.6 million, down nearly 29% from the prior weekend per ComScore. The studios didn't want to open a picture and have its second weekend swamped by Disney and Marvel's May 6th launch of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Its out-of-this-world tracking scores point to a first weekend of $150 million to $200 million. Here's a quick soundbite that explains why.
What do you know about the multiverse?
Viz had his theories. He believed it was dangerous.
He was right. I'm sorry, Stephen. Your desecration of reality will not go unpunished.
We should tell him the truth.
Things just got out of hand.
You break the rules. Look out! Become a hero. I do it. I become the enemy.
Multiverse's average first choice score on tracking is 19 points over norm. Its top demo, Adult Men, is 24 points over norm. Younger men are next best with 22 points over norm. Women are on board too, with younger women 19 points over norm and older women 16 points above. It's a 4 quadrants film, as Hollywood marketers say, and is likely to overperform, which is just what the doctor ordered for exhibitors. But apparently not for exhibitors in China. A new Marvel social media uproar has just erupted in the Middle Kingdom, stemming from a very brief scene with a newsstand displaying the Epoch Times, a newspaper reportedly opposed to China's Communist Party. However brief that moment is, it's enough to torpedo Multiverse's China release. But with so many theaters in China closed now by COVID, losses will likely be much less than they would otherwise be. Multiverse, starring Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, is directed by Sam Raimi, whose long list of top credits includes Marvel's original Spider-Man trilogy. In its 2 domestic post-opening weekends, Multiverse won't face any serious competition. Marvel fans aren't the core audience for Universal and Blumhouse's R-rated horror thriller Firestarter, opening May 13th, or for Focus Features' adult drama Downton Abbey, A New Era, opening May 20th. But May 27th, which kicks off Memorial Day weekend, will see a tall tentpole planted in the box office sands. That's Paramount and Skydance Media's PG-13 action sequel Top Gun Maverick, starring Tom Cruise, which hit the tracking this week with strong awareness and definite interest scores. CinemaCon attendees just got to see the whole movie and reportedly loved it, but the best we can do today is run this pilot training featurette that just might send you online to pre-order tickets.
We are cleared into the area. Verify cameras are on. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Here comes some G's. There's 5 G's. 6 G's. 7 G's. All right. That was awesome.
I wasn't ready to make a sequel until we had a special story worthy of a sequel, and until technology evolved so we could delve deeper into the experience of a fighter pilot.
The first movie became something that changed a generation. So this is exciting to come back and get in those jets again.
We worked with the Navy and the Top Gun school to formulate how to shoot it practically. Because if we're going to do it, we're going to fly in the F-18s.
The aviation sequences had to be real. So our actors went through 3 months of grueling training.
The Navy says if you eject, you have to be able to survive in the water. So we had to go through that challenging underwater program.
It's intense. You're flipped inverted and you're having to try and get out.
From there, Tom designed this all-encompassing aviation training for all the actors.
I started them out in a single-engine airplane to build up their spatial awareness inside the aircraft.
Oh, wow. That's amazing! Oh, my God!
Not surprisingly, Maverick's top interest demo is adult men, 9 points over norm. However, interest from men under 25 is just 1 point over norm. We're only 4 weeks out, so there's still time for those under 25 male scores to increase as the marketing campaign kicks in and Cruise is out there promoting the picture worldwide. Adult women are 2 points over norm, but younger women are 10 points under norm. Not interested at all. Maverick arrives for the 4-day Memorial Day weekend that's traditionally been one of Hollywood's best movie-going holidays. For many years, Memorial Day marked the start of Hollywood's summer season. Marvel changed all that by extending summer by opening Sony's Spider-Man May 3rd, 2002. That strategy evolved to using late April dates for Disney's Avengers Infinity War in 2018 and for Avengers Endgame in 2019. Paramount launched the original Top Gun in mid-May 1986 to $8.2 million, which was big money then. It did blockbuster business with just over $180 million in domestic theaters and over $357 million worldwide. Also arriving May 27th is Disney and 20th Century's PG-13 animated comedy adventure, The Bob's Burgers movie, from directors Lauren Bouchard, the showrunner for 20th Century Fox TV's Bob's Burgers series going back to 2011, and Bernard Derriman, also a veteran Bob's series producer-director. Bob's best definite interest scores are from under 25 women, who are 10 points over norm. Good news here is that the demo least interested in Maverick is under 25 women. As for this week's other big news, the topsy-turvy world of streaming was making more headlines than it wants to. Netflix was knocked for a loop by Wall Street after losing 200,000 subscribers in Q1 and predicting a 2 million subs drop in Q2. Since then, Netflix has been busy talking about adding new revenue through an ad-supported tier. Media buyers everywhere will likely want to seize that new opportunity to reach Netflix's 222 million global subs, including about 75 million in the US. But what doesn't make sense is that Netflix also wants to crack down on password sharing with new fees. That's a recipe for losing more subs as people fight inflation by shedding the easiest costs to cut. If you're going to monetize subscribers with ads, why do anything to lose subscribers? Of course, Netflix's $54 billion in wiped-out market capital dwarfs Amazon's just completed $8.45 billion deal to acquire MGM. Naturally, Amazon's not holding on to MGM Motion Picture Group Chairman Michael DeLuca and President Pam Abdi, whose leadership helped make the studio worth that price. Amazon's having its streamers take over MGM from here. There's a great library of IP to turn into series, sequels, reboots, and reimaginations. In fact, in an SEC filing, Amazon just put that library's value at $3.4 billion. Of course, DeLuca and Abdi know how to make the kind of movies that people will pay to see in theaters. But apparently, Amazon doesn't value that. Meanwhile, the brand new news streamer CNN Plus is dead on arrival just 3 weeks after its much heralded launch. Clearly, that's not a vote of confidence in streaming by the new Warner Discovery team that's just replaced the management team that thought it was a great idea to open all of Warner Brothers' 2021 theatrical movies day and date on HBO Max. Turning now to our Oscar Outlook Spotlight, Will Smith did the Academy a big favor by diverting media attention from its downgrade of 8 Oscar categories, but the offended branches haven't forgotten about it. This week brought more fallout as ACE, the American Cinema Editors, strongly objected to having been cut from the telecast. In a stinging video statement urging the Academy to abandon its new 2-tier award strategy, ACE protested, quote, "This year's Academy Awards ceremony left film editors and many other essential arts on the cutting room floor of cinematic history. We feel cheated, insulted, and angry by the way our art was deemed superfluous in favor of bloated performances and spectacle," unquote. Ironically, for many years, a film editing nom was seen as a key way to handicap the Best Picture race. Not having an editing nom was considered a big disadvantage. It's a sign of changing Oscar times that 2022's Best Picture winner Coda wasn't a film editing nominee, while Dune, which won for editing, lost for Best Picture. Despite Oscar's degrading downgrades, the telecast still ran nearly 4 hours, so the Academy accomplished nothing with its new pre-show award strategy except alienating members who are now committed to achieving change. Next weekend, we'll clearly bring a box office home run in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. About a month afterwards, another multiplex moneymaker will dominate the marketplace. Universal and Amblin's PG-13 sci-fi action-adventure Jurassic World Dominion, opening June 10th. And just to whet your appetite, here are some of the best moments.
I wanted to show them something that wasn't an illusion. Something that was real. Something that they could see and touch. Creation is an act of sheer will. Life will find a way.
Humans and dinosaurs can't coexist. We created an ecological disaster.
Ellie Sattler.
Alan Grant.
You didn't come out all this way just to catch up now, did you?
You coming or what?
We're racing toward the extinction of our species. We not only lack dominion over nature, we're subordinate to it.
Come back.
I always come back.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?
Dominion's not on the tracking yet, but let's go out on a limb, better make that a dinosaur limb, to say that when the dinos hit cinemas, we'll be seeing the kind of box office power that will have Wall Street regretting it bet streaming would make exhibition extinct. That's it for today, but we'll be back next week on Box Office Autopsy with a full report on Doctor Strange, so please join us then, and thanks very much for listening today. Time now for our film flashback look at what was happening in Hollywood right around now, way back then. Let's set today's time travel dial for May 1st, 1941. Even after 81 years, it's still amazing that Citizen Kane, which premiered in New York May 1st, 1941, managed to get shown in movie theaters. The problem was that Orson Welles' story of newspaper mogul politician Charles Foster Kane was modeled, in very large part, some said, after real-life newspaper mogul politician William Randolph Hearst. Concerns over how closely the RKO film, written by Herman J. Mankiewicz and Welles, depicted Hearst and his longtime mistress, movie star Marion Davies, resulted in strenuous efforts to keep Kane out of cinemas. The lengths to which MGM in particular went to kill Kane are themselves a good thriller. As Welles was shooting in 1940, word spread that Kane was Hearst, and no-talent singer-actress Susan Alexander Kane was the very talented and successful actress Davies. Welles told RKO president George Schaefer that Kane was a composite character and Alexander definitely wasn't Davies. But Schaefer sensed serious trouble ahead. Hearst was the day's most powerful media mogul, with newspapers, magazines, a newsreel, a wire service, and radio stations, clearly a formidable enemy. A possible way out came in a call to Schaefer prior to Kane's release from Nicholas Schenck, chairman of Loews Incorporated, the New York theater chain that owned MGM. Schenck asked Schaefer to see him in New York, which he did since that was, in effect, a command. MGM president Louis B. Mayer was a longtime friend of Hearst, whose Cosmopolitan Pictures was based for years at MGM. Face-to-face, Schenck revealed Mayer would repay RKO the $800,000 it spent to produce Kane if Schaefer would have Kane's negative and all its prints destroyed. That put Schaefer in a decidedly difficult spot. He'd crossed swords before with Mayer and wasn't going to give in to him now. Schaefer felt RKO's board would say take the money, so he didn't put this in front of them. He green-lighted Kane's release himself after running it past RKO lawyers who reportedly altered only one line. But he couldn't get the film played anywhere but in RKO's own small theater circuit. New York's Radio City Music Hall, which like RKO was backed by Rockefeller money and the Chase Bank, wouldn't play the critically acclaimed movie because Hearst's Hollywood columnist Luella Parsons said it shouldn't be shown. Schaefer finally pressured the big Warner Brothers theater circuit to book Kane, threatening a lawsuit for conspiracy with MGM if it refused. Once Warner Brothers agreed to play it, Kane was on the road to its now legendary success. And that's it for today's podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with another box office autopsy next week. In Hollywood for Screendollars, I'm Martin Grove.